What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TECspertZ. My name is Nick Green. I'm the News and Sports Director with WZMB.
I'm Cannon Gates, the Station Manager at WZMB.
And I'm Trevon McGlone. I am the Sports Editor for the East Carolinian.
And we are back with yet another episode of TECspertZ, coming back after another win for the Pirates, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But before we do, we'd like to... So TECspertZ is a collaboration between the East Carolinian and WZMB 91.3. And we would like to thank the Big Vape Theory for sponsoring today's podcast. All right, gentlemen. The Pirates, we pulled off a win. We did. We won the game against UTSA. The final score 30-20. I know we were hoping for a little bit more of a statement from East Carolina. However, it wasn't necessarily the most. It's not like the wins we've had before. Guys, what were your overall thoughts on this? Overarching thoughts on the game so far?
I'd like to go first, Trevon.
Gotcha. If it's okay with y'all, just real quick, I want to shout out and a heavy heart for everything that's been going on for Western North Carolina.
Yeah,
just real quick.
for sure.
Shout out to Boone.
Absolutely.
Shout out to
Asheville.
Shout out to Hickory. Shout out to Winston-Salem. I know you guys are going through a lot. Just because we're on the eastern side of North Carolina doesn't mean we're all not North Carolinians. And we're thinking about you guys and hoping that things get better during the upcoming days. But back to football for sure. I was impressed. I was definitely happy that it felt like the adjustments that we were asking for in the second half came to fruition. And also shout out to the fans, because there were a lot of points and times where UTSA was near the goal line on Saturday, and the noise got to them. They had a lot of false starts.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what we were hoping for, that home energy, and the players fed off that. You truly felt that they wanted to get out there and break this losing streak that we were on, and they did that. I'm happy for them.
Yeah. The game on Saturday. Well,
Let's go, Mr. Gates. Let's see your thoughts on this.
If you watched last week's episode, you know I predicted a 52-35 win. Now, obviously, 30-20 was the final. The first half made me want to do stuff that I can't say on there.
All right, well.
And I'm just going to go ahead and put it right here. Matt, you know what's put? Fire Mike Houston. That's the first one of this episode. You'll have plenty more. You probably should put an over-under somewhere. I don't know an over-under line, but you guys probably should have one, because it'll be said a lot. Anyways, game-wise, I'll bring up the pretty crazy stat here. I don't know if you know this. 3-0 whenever Jake Garcia throws 2 or more interceptions. 0-2 when he does not.
Wild.
It's
Wild stat.
And he leads the nation, FBS, in interceptions. Obviously, has not really bit us on the butt because we're 3-0 when he throws more than 2. But that's been obviously against inferior opponents. This game, we could not run the ball. No. I like seeing Jake run the ball, actually. Finally got, use your legs more. So, like I said, couldn't really run the ball. Jake Garcia using his legs. Like to see that. Defense, the D-line, I think, is probably what I'm most upset about.
Yeah.
Because the secondary, honestly, looks fine without Ravel. Linebackers were solid for the most part. D-line was not really getting the pressure that I liked. Now, McCown was getting out of the pocket and making, but and I guess you can blame that a little bit on the linebackers too, because he was completing too many passes when he was getting out of the pocket. Now, obviously, these were little just dinks, but still, that gives you 5-6 yards every time. You're still progressively moving the ball. So that was one that I really did not like to see. But yeah, D-line just really disappointed me in this game. I was expecting more out of them. They had a few big plays, like they always do. They always have a few big plays, but they weren't making those pressures that leads to them getting those big plays. They were just they got, like I said, a few, but besides that, and then the offense, the run blocking wasn't there. So I don't really blame all of it on Rajo, but he had 25 rushes for 60 yards, 2.4 yards per carry. You don't like that at all.
Right.
And obviously, he was the only one who really got touches out of the backfield in that game. And then another just key point I wanted to bring up: Brock Spalding needs to learn how to catch punt return.
Please, dear God.
Now, obviously,
oh my gosh,
it did not bite us in the butt. It did not bite us because he recovered both. He had a very good awareness. I'll give him that for jumping back on that football.
He jumped on it both times.
Yes, quickly. I'll give you that. But yeah, drop both of them. Catch the ball, kid, please. Catch the ball, son. It was bad. But the overarching theme, I guess, is what we've done good all season did not work in this football game. Mainly it's been, like we've talked about, that first drive in the first quarter and that first drive in the third quarter has been our bread and butter, which I don't like saying, but that has been true. We've jumped out to those early leads and then they came back, and that's how it's been. In this game, it wasn't like that. I don't know what the halftime score was exactly. We were down.
I don't remember.
Were we
down?
We
were losing at halftime.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, seeing that made me even more like fire Mike Houston.
Yeah.
But obviously, we get the win. Not as impressive as we would have liked. We looked amazing for one quarter. We looked for about 3. And now, obviously, I'm not saying, I think the last 2 games, Houston did get outcoached. I wouldn't necessarily say he got outcoached this game. Right. I think just some things happened for them, some things happened for us. Obviously, winning that game only by 10 points is why I'm saying fire Mike Houston. But it wasn't as good or bad, I guess, as it could have been.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's a great analysis overall on it. I'll probably add a few to the counter today myself, to be honest with you, just because of the nature of the game and how infuriating it was in the fourth quarter of how we just tried to give it away. It seemed like we didn't want to. I mean, we got up. I don't remember what the score was. I want to say it was like 20. It was 20. No, it was 27-13. I want to say it was.
Right.
And then we let them get a touchdown, and then we got the ball. And we just did not want to capitalize on anything, and we just let them have it right back. I think right after that, Jake Garcia threw an interception and put them in there, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, do we not want to win right now? And granted, our defense stepped up in that moment, and they forced a field goal there. They forced them to go for it on 4th down. They didn't even get points on that drive. But either way, the point comes across is we're having problems with keeping the foot on the gas pedal. This has been a consistent problem we've had. The past 2 weeks we've had this problem, and the only game I'd say we didn't have this problem for was against Norfolk State. That was the only game we did not have a problem keeping the foot on the gas pedal. Every other game since then, we've had this problem, and I think that goes right to Mike Houston, so fire Mike Houston for that. But at the same time, I really think this is just this is infuriating to watch because we're so much more talented than what we're putting on the field right now. We've seen the talent. We've seen Jake Garcia come out. For some reason, the games he takes the most care of the football is the games that we're winning, the games we're losing. That doesn't make any sense. That stat that you sent me, that's a wild stat.
I know a key point to that, too. Because we are keeping our foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Whenever Jake is heaving the ball downfield is when he's
when he's got his foot on the gas pedal.
Whenever he doesn't have his foot on the gas pedal is when he's being conservative and he's not throwing interceptions.
Yeah. Now, to that, I'm not going to put all the blame on Mike Houston for this one. Let's keep it real. Jake Garcia, please, you got to quit underthrowing some of these passes. Please.
Yeah.
There was too many to count where if the ball was not underthrown, it would have been a touchdown or at least would have been a catch.
Yep.
And even on some big plays, the ball was underthrown, and our receiver had to make a great adjustment in order to make the play happen. So let's keep it real. This blame is not entirely on Mike Houston. You said, one of you guys mentioned, I don't remember which one of you it was, that Jake Garcia has the most turnovers in FBS right now. That is atrocious. That should not happen. Most interceptions, my bad, not turnovers. Well, same thing, but not the same thing.
He's had 1 or 2 of those.
It might be most turnovers, too. But either way, that's atrocious. That shouldn't have. And most of the interceptions have not been on bad reads, just bad throws. Most of them. Some of them have been bad reads.
Yeah.
But most of them have been bad throws, not bad reads. And that's entirely on Jake Garcia. You got to make that throw, especially if this is something like, this is your 3rd school. You've been at Miami, you've been at Missouri, and now you're here trying to make a name for yourself. I think you've got to fix this now. Like, this is something that I've seen consistently, and truthfully, it infuriates me to watch it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have felt the same about that.
Yeah, no, it has. And then a couple other things I wanted to point out with that. Well, first, do you guys think, it hasn't been said at all, Jake Garcia has an injury in the hand? The only reason why I say this, his throws did not look like this any of the other weeks, even when he was throwing the ball downfield. They weren't being underthrown. Now, obviously, this could just be sometimes it's underthrown by him and he's just messing up. I think it could be an injury to the hand. I'm just making assumptions here. I don't know.
I don't know. And if that's the case, I take back what I just said. But
if
he does have an injury to the hand, I'm sorry. I did not mean to rip into you that hard. But
I'm just guessing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it could be something. He does take a lot of hits, especially he did take a strong hit that I think he was not limping, but it was like clearly he was trying to shake off, like, taking one of those tougher hits, and we don't want to see that being our starting quarterback. But I don't blame him for being a little bit running. If it's okay, I wanted to kind of like pivot off that point where yes, Jake has to make some of those throws, but I feel like some of the reason as to why we have trouble with our offense fluctuating in between taking the foot off the gas pedal and stuff like that is that the run game has been kind of ineffective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm happy you brought that up.
And that's exactly where it comes from because the offensive line isn't getting the same type of, they're not winning the fight in the trenches. And Harris is better than this. I think Raji is much better
100%,
than this.
yeah.
But also at the same time, where's Bond? Where's Montgomery?
Yeah.
These are guys that can actually.
Bond, I don't think played Saturday.
I think Bond is still nurturing the injury he had.
Got you.
I think. I could be wrong, but from as far as I know, because he's been listed as like the starting punt returner, but we have not seen him on
right.
Spalding,
It's been Spalding.
And that's what I was curious about. I don't know. Hopefully he isn't injured, but also at the same time, Montgomery also. I know he's the third, running back on believe on the depth chart, and we only really got to see him against Norfolk when the game was out of hand. But he made plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel as if we're putting too much on making Jake have to make those throws. Obviously, we trailed in the last couple of games, but being able to do both those things in terms of running the ball and making those passes is something that you have to have. You have to be a complete offense. Otherwise, we're going to see things like we did against App where the offense gets stagnant because they know we're going to throw the ball. They can't run it on us, so let's stack the box and we're going to stop Raji every single time.
No, I think you bring up a great point there. We have to we have to run the ball better. As simple as that. We have to run the ball better. It gets play action more involved. It gets the RPOs more deadly. It makes everything better. We have to run the ball better. And I don't know if that's because the blocking up front hasn't been there, or I don't know if it's just because I don't know what's going on with the run right now. But I think you're absolutely right. We have to get the running backs more involved. And then Marlon Gunn, we haven't seen him much either. But that guy's a stud. Like I don't know why we haven't seen him that much. I think there's plenty of times if Raji's not cutting it. Let's throw Marlon Gunn in there. Get some speed out there. Yes. Or, at the bare minimum, let's run a jet sweep with Winston Wright Jr. Yes. That guy has got the speed. Let's run a jet sweep with Winston Wright Jr. Let's get the run game open that way.
Yeah.
I think.
If I remember correctly, like you said, they're on TV. They were showing Ravel, obviously, saying he was like on the sidelines. And I remember correctly, I was like, because Bond's 30, right?
Yes.
It was because it was Bond beside him, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Bond. I was like, I didn't know why he was out, like you said, but like you said about Montgomery, the thing is. He's a Penn State transfer. The dude obviously has talent, and he looked good against, obviously, Norfolk State, so that's different. But the dude obviously has talent, so why not? Let's go see him. I think he had one carry on Saturday. But yeah, another couple guys I want to shout out. You were the one who brought it up. Noah Perez.
Noah Perez, new kicker. Yes.
3 for 3.
American Special Teams Player of the Week. Shout out Noah Perez. That guy, absolutely. That was one thing that was a bright spot for us. He did not miss a single kick. Extra point or field goal, we didn't miss a single one. Shout out Noah Perez for that. That's something we hadn't seen in a long time. Even for a game, it's something we hadn't seen for a while, so we appreciate that. Another point I wanted to ask about and wanted to bring up a little bit. How much do you guys think it means the fact that our defense was able to make another step up again? After having the bad week last week against Liberty, being able to take a step up and be like, you know what, no, we lost Javon Revel, but like, we're a good defense as a whole. Being able to make that step up and being able to fill in for Javon Revel. What do you think that says for the defense?
Kenny, you want me to take this one right here?
Yeah, because I have a few things to say about that.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, let Trayvon go first.
The secondary at least proved that that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see stops when they mattered the most, and the defense did come up. Sometimes they did bend. Especially in the first half, the second half really, because it was kind of a situation where we kind of let them in more back into the game. But they did make plays. They broke up key downs when they needed to be, and that's what you want them to go for. Remember, hey, we have a solid pass defense, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we can make things happen. Obviously, you want to clean it up a little bit, but they did enough to win the game. And ultimately, that's what we're not asking them to hold guys to under 20 every single week.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And especially when we get into harder games like this, hopefully they can do that, but it's tough. I still think they're trying to figure that out. They lost one of their best leaders. Barker also got banged up as well, but I believe he came back in the game. Thank God for that, because he's one of our best
Barker's been, oh my God, he's been a stud for us.
Yeah. So the fact that he was able to come back in and play hard to finish the game for that was huge, and I appreciate him for that. There are things that we did need to clean up in terms of our defensive line
Sure.
getting a little bit more pressure because we want to get that ball out of his hands quicker. McCown had some time where he would make plays, and the dump offs were something that we had a problem once again with the tight ends.
Yeah.
If we can clean that stuff up, that would be great because that's why we lost the game against that. We gave up too many short passes.
Yeah.
We also had too many drop turnovers.
That too.
Way too many drop turnovers that we have to clean up.
Yeah.
Not clean up, but clean up, yes, but also like you can't miss those opportunities.
Make those plays.
Like we need to make those plays.
Yeah. Nick, I'm gonna completely disagree with you.
Okay.
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 The reason being, and you kind of actually made my point sound a little bit better, I guess, because as I said earlier, and I think it's because I hold the defensive line to a higher standard than our secondary,
Sure.
and that is after losing Ravel. I hold our D-line to a higher standard. When you got guys like Chad Stevens, Deonta Johnson, J.D. Lampley, is it Samuel Danka, C.J. Mims was out there. Like, we have guys on our D-line, Raheem Craig, is technically an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
We have guys on our defensive line. I hold them to a higher standard than our secondary because after losing Ravel, they're still solid guys. Gosh, I need something Lamp. What's his last? Is it Wilson Lamp? The guy who had a pick on Saturday. Not Rogers. I'm forgetting his name, and I hate that I'm forgetting his name. He had a pick on Saturday, and so those guys, they did good. But Andrew Wilson Lamp. There we go. I was combining him and Isaiah Brown Murray together.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that's what I was.
IBM,
And IBM looked good out there too. But I think the only reason why I disagree with you is because I hold that defensive line to a higher standard.
Sure.
That's supposed to be an experienced group, a group that provides pressure, shuts down the run for us, all that.
Sure.
And I think that's why I was disappointed on the defense because whenever we've been the bend don't break type of defense, our D-line's been making plays. They've been doing all that. We just have had, we get them to a 3rd and 12, but they make a play downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you talk about the secondary, but it's like, oh, they're kind of not as experienced, all that type of stuff. And that's when I'm kind of like, oh, defense played good. I didn't love how the defense played Saturday because, like you said, the dinks is kind of like, we can score more points, but the dinks are killing us because they're getting the ball downfield.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I was annoyed with the defense, but still, 20 points, can't be mad about that. Against a conference opponent who scored scoreless in the 3rd quarter. That was big.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4th quarter defense looked great.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I think in the 4th quarter but I think the big thing for me is why I'm talking so highly about it. Because if it would just been the first half, this would have been a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
This would have been a very, very different conversation.
For sure.
But adding the second half in there, seeing how it seemed like the second half there was so many there was a few turnovers and there's so many more opportunities for turnovers that we had there that it was exciting to watch. But our offense is trying to give the game away right now, but our defense is coming back and no, we want this win. That's what it seemed like to me anyway. And I think that's why I have more of a positive outlook on the defense.
We understand that, yeah.
But no, speaking of kind of that whole situation here, the past few weeks we got off to an early lead, and then we fall behind. Do you think this is a nice change of pace, the fact that we were able to, maybe we didn't come out to an early lead, but we were able to kind of flip the script a little bit? Or do you think you're still I just want to see a complete game for once?
A complete game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's 100% no. Easily understand your question, but I think it's
Yeah,
probably a complete game.
I think I worded the question a little
But,
wrong,
and you're saying complete game too. I know you
Yeah.
are. We want to see a complete game because I want to see our offense compete for 4 quarters, and we've not been competing for 4 quarters, at all. No game. Because, Norfolk State, blowout. We really only competed for, the first half.
Yeah.
Old Dominion, 20-14, that's insane. App State, I guess that was probably the most we competed out of the offense. We scored only 19. And Liberty only competed for, really the first half.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, and I think that's why I'm disappointed in this game, too, because I have not seen a complete game. And if I don't see a complete one, Saturday at Charlotte, we'll get into that later, my prediction, but if we don't blow Charlotte out,
we'll talk about that.
And that will be even more fire my Houston chance because
Yeah.
I will be upset if we only barely squeak out a victory there. But no, I just want to see a complete game for once, and I think that's why I get so heated about it is because we are not playing full football. We can lose football games, so you can play a complete football game, or we can win and play a complete football game. If we were to lose and play a complete football game, I'd be like, okay, we tried our best.
Yeah.
They just outplayed us.
And I'm not going to lie, my take on that specific one that you asked whether or not we were playing the complete game, it would have changed if on that 4th and goal where we didn't go for it, if we had Comrade in. Because I was pretty mad about that we didn't go out there and make a statement to try to go get that touch. Like, it was 2 yards at the 2-yard line. Yeah. Worst case scenario, you have a solid defense that can make a stop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In home field territory. But shout out to Perez again. Like I said, he did what he was supposed to do, and he kicked it in. But those are some of the things that was probably my biggest gripe I had with Houston over the weekend, is that there's times where we were being aggressive and there was times where we just kind of let it go. You got to go for it there. There's no excuses for it, and it sets the tone for the offense of how much belief you have in them. Because if you don't go out there and give them an opportunity to go pick up 2 yards, what are you going to do when you're near the 15 and you're down in a situation like we were against App State? Like we were in other situations where we actually punted the ball in that situation. So it's confidence. You have to instill in these guys that, I believe that we have guys. Yeah, we have 11 that can definitely take it out there and go down there and score 7. You know what I mean? And then that's where I was a little bit frustrated with that. Only with his aspect of it. Yeah. I think the players did a better job of understanding at least, hey, we're off to a slow start this game. We have to find a way to actually put up points in the second half, and they did do that. So I will give them credit for that, for the offense actually being able to, get that flow. Hopefully we can have a way to, like Cannon said, complete offense in the first half, complete offense in the second half. That's the biggest issue that we've had, and if they can get that chemistry going, because we had big plays. Winston made big plays. Smith had a big reception as well on passes that they had made spectacular efforts to make. Mm-hmm. Those are things that we can do on a weekly basis.
Absolutely. One last question before we move on to the Charlotte game. We've joked about it a few times. We've got the Fire Mike Houston counter somewhere on this video. I'm sure it's there. Well, it actually is not as high right now as what I thought it would be at this point. But, however, that being said, my last question is about Mike Houston specifically. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 like, his job is completely secure, and 10 being he's on the hot seat, where do you guys think he's at right now, and where are your thoughts on Mike Houston specifically at this moment?
You want to go or you want me to go?
I'll let the leader go, you know what I'm saying?
Let's get it going.
8.1.
8.1, okay.
Yeah, and I said if we had disciplined me more, it would have been a 9. If we had lost, I don't know.
If we would have lost, there would have been chance in the stadium.
Yeah, but I'm going to go 8.1. Now, obviously, I think my 8.1 to other, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think other people, I think he could be an 8.1 and still keep his job. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Because I will say, I don't know who else is going to come in and be the head coach. And that's the main thing here. You can promote JD to be the head coach. I don't think you would.
I don't think we would.
And I don't think that's would be the smart move. But yeah, I'm at an 8.1. I am kind of just I'm fed up, but I'm also I want to give him grace because he is our head football coach, and it's you want to show him love and give him love because this is our school that we know and love. Yeah. That's our head football coach, and I pour all my support into Mike Houston. No matter how much crap I talk about firing him, go ahead and fire Mike Houston at you. But I give him all my support and all my love, no matter how much crap I talk, because I want him to succeed and I want this team to succeed. But the fact we're 3-2 going after 1 game of conference play does not excite me. Does not make me happy because we should be realistically 5-0. Yeah. But even if we were 4-1, like we said, 3-1 going to conference play, we wouldn't be mad. Mm-hmm. And it's just we have less room to mess up. Because I hate saying it, but it's ECU football. Yeah. We're more likely to mess up somewhere. Absolutely. We lost 2 games that realistically, I guess at the time those teams were better than us, and people were like, this is going to be close ones, obviously. But it's ECU football. We always mess up somewhere. Yeah. The fact that we are 3-2 now, and if we had been 5-0, but then we lose to North Texas down the line.
Who cares?
And it's dang, that sucks. But we're about to make the conference championship, that type of thing. We have less room to mess up, and I think that's my biggest gripe. And Mike Houston, I want to support you, buddy. I want to support you. But if you go into Charlotte and lose to freaking Biff Poggy, I swear I'm gonna pass it to Trayvon. It will be bad. It will be really bad. We might not even have an episode because of how mad I would be. Or just be these two because I know I'll be sitting here
just talk. Just talk.
I'm there with you, Kanan, 100%. I'm a little bit lower on the scale, because we did win. I'm gonna say right now it's kind of in the middle. I'm around maybe 5, kind of in between. I think I mean, these are games we're supposed to win, and we did it. But we have a stretch coming up, like you guys said. We have Charlotte, Army, which is undefeated, and that's a tough game that we always struggle, usually with the triple option offense. Temple, FAU. Those are stretches, and depending on how we play on that stretch, I might go up a little bit higher, or I could go a little bit lower.
Realistically, there should be 3 easy wins.
Right, 3 easy wins, and then maybe Army gives us the biggest trouble. That's what I'm thinking.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Right. You have to win these games going on because, like I said, this was last week. I said this was one of the bigger games that we have, even though it's worse opponent.
Mm-hmm.
We have to beat UTSA, and we did. Charlotte is around that same level, the way that they've been going out this year. But they've also given us trouble in the past, especially because we have to go on the road for this one this year compared to last year. I'm nervous in terms of offense. Like, how are we going to respond to that? What are you scripting with JDB to get things going? Like, how are we going to, what is that looking like? He needs to be able to completely coach the game through and through because these next 2 games, I believe, are road games as well. We're going up to West Point to play Army. That's not going to be easy. No. Especially if they keep winning, they could arguably be ranked by the time the season.
But we play this week, then it's a bye, and then it's Army.
Right. Yeah. So you have 3 weeks to come up with that one, for sure. But I'm kind of like now middle, just for the time being. But it could change.
And with that, before I pass it to Nick, I'm like 8.1 in my head for me personally. I think realistically, in the whole school and what's going to happen, he's about a 5. I think that's what makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
I'll pass it to you off.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you on that one, with the sense of like realistically, he's about a 5. I was more so asking where's your head right now. And I'm kind of with you, honestly. I think my answer to this answer is probably going to be closer to a 7.5. I am pretty disappointed with how we've played the past few games, and then UTSA, I feel like we should have came out swinging a little bit more. I think it was overall a more complete game, but at the same time, it still's not. I don't think it's good enough yet. I don't think we're at a point where I'm confident in this football team to go out against a good opponent and win. I'm not confident there yet. We're beating the teams we should, but we're not coming out and exciting me against teams the teams that are quality opponents in my head. I'm not saying UTSA is not a quality opponent, but they're not as quality of an opponent as like some of the other schools we've played that I think we should realistically be able to have better matchups against. So I think that's kind of where my headspace is at. I think I just hold the team to higher expectations with the talent that we have on the team right now.
Yes.
That being said, I'm going to kind of take this time we'll transition into Charlotte a little bit doing this too, just because I feel like this next point I'm bringing up segues perfect into this. Mike Houston is currently 0-6 against in-state FBS opponents. That's horrible.
It's unacceptable.
That is horrible. That being said, we've got Charlotte this week. We're going to Charlotte. We lost to Charlotte last year in probably one of the worst football games I've ever watched.
It was disgusting.
It was so bad.
It was terrible. It was 10-7. I remember it very, very vividly. This year we're going into Charlotte. Not saying it's the greatest environment of football of all time because it's a pretty small stadium. However, if we don't come out of there with a big win against Charlotte, or at least a win, at the bare minimum, we have to get one win right now. Mike Houston, this counter, that right here, I'm going to assume I'm pointing to it right now. I don't know if I am or not. That counter, we're going to have it up again next week too.
Fire Mike Houston.
We'll add a little bit to it right now. If we lose to Charlotte, the fire Mike Houston, it's on. It's on.
It's going to trend.
And we cannot go 0-7 with in-state against FBS opponents. That being said, I'm going to take this time to transition to give you my score prediction. That way you guys can kind of talk about the Charlotte game a little bit too. My score prediction for this one is what we need to happen. We need it badly. Give me 28-10, East Carolina. That being said, I'll pass it over to Ken.
Yeah, Charlotte's used 3 quarterbacks already this season. They used 3. Max Brown, I'm pretty sure came in as a transfer. Could be wrong about that one. And then a guy named Purdy, and then Trexler Ivy. Guys who, have y'all ever heard of?
Never once.
Exactly.
Never once.
Sorry, guys. I haven't heard.
Now, obviously, UTSA, I think was rated lower as a football team than Charlotte going into this game.
I actually think I saw something that East Carolina and Charlotte are playing for number 1 in the American at this moment.
They did beat Rice.
I think I saw that stat. Don't quote me on that. I think I saw it on Twitter.
You're probably right.
But
Charlotte beat Rice this past Saturday
so
by 1 point.
Which I never would have guessed after last year.
They got Kurt Warner to get a quarterback.
Exactly.
Yeah, Rice does. So, anyways, they have used 3 quarterbacks. They can't really run the ball. Charlotte freaking sucks, to be honest. They have 2 wins. I don't know how they.
Their fan base hates the football team.
I don't know how they have 2 wins. They beat Rice and some bad team. I don't really know. But that is a bad football team. Biff Poggy's not that good a coach. And honestly, Biff Poggy disgusts me. He looks disgusting out there. Does not look like a head football coach. He should be fired immediately. If I was a Charlotte fan, I'd hate my life having Biff Poggy. But Charlotte freaking sucks. I'm gonna go crazy again because screw Charlotte. Like, why? I don't want to know. Like, no.
Fair enough.
42-10. We are a much better football team than them. I believe UTSA was a tougher opponent than Charlotte. I hold Charlotte to a much lower standard than Trayvon does. I think. I think they're the bottom tier of an American opponent compared to UTSA. That's a bad football team. If we lose this game, fire Mike Houston, fire Mike Houston, fire Mike Houston. I can put that right there. If we lose this game, we are all, and I will personally bring them bags to put over our heads. Fire Mike Houston.
Oh, sorry. That will be the thumbnail for next week's video.
If we lose this game, I'm gonna personally bring them, and we're gonna ride them and fire Mike Houston if that happens. Big Poggy's a terrible looking human. 42-10 football game. Fire Mike Houston.
Before you go, I do have to ask: are y'all going to the game? Are y'all going?
I won't be, but I'll definitely.
I can't look at Biff Poggy.
Fair enough.
I can't look at. So.
What were you saying? Are you?
I won't be going, but I'll definitely be tapped in for sure. Because
I will be representing Pirate Nation in Charlotte this weekend. That being said,
Nick just wanted to gloat.
Well, I wanted to see if y'all were going.
Fair enough.
I wanted to see if y'all were going.
Fair
I wanted to meet up with the guys, you know. But anyway, that being said, sorry, Trayvon.
You're good, Brody. If anybody that's watched our team for the last 2 years knows that this is Charlotte's Super Bowl, bro. Outside of
Facts.
When that 10-7 loss happened for us, they were chatting so much, and it annoyed me because they looked just as bad as we did.
They're essentially an FCS school.
Swear, you know what I mean? Like their first year in the FBS, I think it was last year or the year before that. They're acting like they've been here for a while. You're new here, little bro.
They got in college football in like 2012.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to lose this game, especially being close to Charlotte. I know some people that have gone to UNC Charlotte. I want them to know that, hey, you got some way to go. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's us, and then there's you guys.
Yeah.
And but I am a little bit afraid though that we do start off a little bit slow because Charlotte's gonna be motivated to play this game. I'm gonna say a little bit of a lower scoring game just because I had PTSD from the 10-7 game last year. I'm gonna say 21-10 for us. Hopefully the defense does great, holds them down and shows them like, hey, you guys couldn't pass the ball, you couldn't run the ball against us last year. You're not going to be able to do it this year with an arguably worse team. And it would be a good statement to go in before the bye week and then the Army game in West Point the week after that, after the bye week. To be able to go in there and do something. But I also want us to be able to run the ball, bro. It doesn't have to just be all Jay Garcia, Winston, right? You know what I mean? Show that we have a good, like, the offensive line. I'm challenging you guys this week. Like, get in the trenches and show this team that you're bigger than them, you're better than them. Get out there and take this dub. Because at the end of the day, we have a guy who could run for over 100 in Raji Harris.
Yes.
We have guys that can get 50 yards off of a couple of carries in, Montgomery if he gets the opportunities. If Gunn gets the opportunity as well. If Bond comes back, you know what I mean? Hopefully you're good, big dog. We have opportunities to show them that we can get out there, bro. Like, people are losing faith that you can run the ball after the last 2 games. And we just have to be able to do it. Go out there and just run, Pirate football.
Speak on that, Trayvon. Speak on that.
Right there.
Now, I'm sorry if we win 21-10, I might bring the bag still. Because 21-10 actually gives me, like...
unacceptable.
Like, I will literally have... Like, I don't know. I will have, like, bumps all over me because of, like, how mad I would be. No, 21-10, yeah.
Fair enough.
Good prediction for you, but I will be physically upset.
If it is right, yeah, I'll be pretty upset myself on that one. That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode of TECspertZ.
Fire Mike Houston.
I had to get one more in there for good luck, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We'll be back next week where hopefully we will be talking about an ECU win where we absolutely blow out Charlotte because, well, let's keep it real. They're the little bros in this relationship.
Exactly.
That being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate you. Until next time, go Pirates.